Hello folks, this is Donald Standerford with a little bit of news for you today. Poland calls Blinken's bluff, exposes fracture in NATO alliance. Yes folks, if you were hoping Blinken had gotten a little smarter, or at least looked a little smarter, I'm sorry to disappoint you. He looks worse than he did the day he started. As President Putin of Russia said to Biden, the Biden administration is a joke from top to bottom. Today, Poland announced it would release immediately and free of charge its MiG-29 fleet of 28 aircraft to the United States for transfer to Ukraine. The transfers would take place at Ramstein Air Base, Germany. Shortly after the Polish announcement, the U.S. Undersecretary of State Victoria Nuland told a Senate committee that the Polish announcement caught the U.S. completely by surprise. I don't think that Biden really has control of the military. If you want to know the truth, there has been a little bit of change lately. On Trump Truth, as you may have heard, Q was the first one to get an account on Truth Social. Q, after all this time, after months, has finally posted again. The initials left in code were DJT. The message was that we are in control. I don't think Biden really has the ability to go to Ukraine, so he's trying to talk all these other countries into doing it. Little success. He's offered to pay Poland to send jets over there. Poland won't do it. They don't want to be responsible for a nuclear war. They are taking care of people that are exiting to their country. What we have here, and I don't see why people don't get this, I have to face the fact Napoleon once said that his excuse for taking over France after the revolution where they freed themselves, and then he takes it back, is the people are not smart enough to rule themselves. I'm starting to think maybe that's true after talking to these people. It gets frustrating. Say, calm down, we need to calm down, we need to trust God. Well, it's easy to say if you're ignorant to the fact that your whole world's falling apart and somebody's trying to destroy your country. I see these same people getting upset when they're shorted $10 on their paycheck or the rent goes up $5. Oh, they get upset then. But your country's falling apart. We're supposed to be calm about it. We're supposed to be reverent before God and not try to convince anybody else of what's happening. That ain't going to stop me from doing my post, but it does give me a little bit less. I guess it's not their fault if they can't figure it out. I wonder how many of these people are going to say they knew all along. They talk about Q as if it were nothing. Q has come out of the closet. I can't even get a count on Truth Social yet, but Q got one before Trump did. What does that tell you? The people that are responsible for putting together Truth Social are joking about it. I met with Q and had a beer with him the other day. Are they the kind of cruel people, including Trump, who would play a joke like that? Some might say yes, but I say no. I say if Q weren't really posting on Truth Social, Trump would boot him off. I think Q has come out of the closet. We know that Trump is getting bolder and bolder lately about proclaiming during the last CPAC meeting, he flat out said, I am your president. He couched it under some more words. He said it clearly. They shocked the crowd. And then you have Scavino and all the other ones hinting around. Q is talking to so-and-so, having a beer with him right now. I don't think that they would be doing this if they didn't have nothing. Too serious. Way too serious. We have Biden pretending to be president. Okay, what I'm going to read you here is a leaked transcript from the White House. You bet there's people wanting to leak conversations like this out because he's destroying the country. Even Democrats are turning against him. Good evening, Mr. President, says Biden. Good evening, says Putin. Listen, I'd like to speak to you regarding, inaudible, our country's respective positions on Ukraine. Now, I know pardon me, says Putin, but I have nothing to discuss. Well, says Biden. Now, wait a minute. There are lives at stake here, and it's in everyone's, inaudible, to say that Putin, sir, respect. You are not the one to make decisions. Biden, now look here. I am the sitting president of the United States of America, and I am most certainly in the position of influence of our military and intelligence department. What we have to do now that escalations have, sir, not to disappoint you, says Putin, but you are sitting president of nothing and no positions to influence our world or its doing. Biden. Now, that's not regarding influence. We think it is. All of this could just Putin. There is none. So that, better way to say than to stand down immediately. The conversation now concludes. That says it all right there. Putin doesn't believe he's president of the United States. Why? Putin isn't stupid. Does he have a deal going with Trump on this? I don't know. It sure fits with the Q theory. They have all the control now. And that's what Q is telling us. We have all the control. I think that's why they can't get done what they want in Ukraine. They've got all sorts of biolabs over there, and Putin's over there gathering evidence, and they can't do nothing. Why people can't see that he is trying to ruin this country is just beyond me. First of all, he puts us totally dependent upon Putin for oil when he first gets there. Takes away all our oil and puts us dependent on Putin. Doesn't that show you that he knew what was going to happen? Oil prices go up quite a bit. Russia goes to war, and we are stuck dependent on Russian oil. The price goes up more. Of course, it's not Biden's fault. It's the war. Yet, if he anticipated that it was going to happen and put us at the mercy of Russia on purpose so that he could make sure that it wasn't him that got blamed for the oil prices, well, now he's going to Iran and Venezuela, Saudi Arabia. That's all we need is Iran in charge of us. This guy is an enemy of the United States, in my opinion. I don't think I'm the only one. Anybody who doesn't see what's going on, doesn't see that he's trying to break the bank here, I just don't know what to say. It's so obvious to me. Afghanistan, everything worked out real good, didn't it, for Taliban there? Everything seems to work out real smooth. Whatever he does always seems to go negative instead of positive. They keep blaming it on his mentality. They jump right in when the news says that the Ukraine is a democracy. Putin has just invaded a democracy and those poor innocent people. Yeah, okay. Why in the world is George Soros, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Biden all jumping up and shouting that we need to save this democracy? When Canada was in trouble, I didn't see the democracy in Canada, which was a real democracy, because in Canada, well, at least last week, they didn't put their political adversaries in prison like they do Ukraine, which Russia does also. So how does that make Ukraine a democracy? Russia isn't a democracy. All of a sudden, George Soros and Hillary Clinton are calling Ukraine a democracy. Why? Not only are they calling it a democracy, we need to send troops over there to protect this democracy. Well, as far as I know, George Soros and Hillary Clinton never met a democracy they didn't want to demolish. If Ukraine was a democracy, they'd be over there fighting alongside Putin, trying to destroy it. They never said anything when Canada was attacked by its own people, by communism, when old ladies were being ran over by horses, and a real democracy. That was a real democracy, not Ukraine. Ukraine has been overtaken by deep state, mainly Obama. Hunter Biden, we know for beyond a shadow of a doubt, he's made millions of dollars in Ukraine. Everybody that is in Congress, every Democrat seems to have a son that is on an oil board making millions of dollars a year in Ukraine. Why? Why do they get so upset when this democracy in Ukraine, this wonderful country, is attacked? There are wonderful people in the country. It's not the government that's wonderful. The government is Nazis. They were put into place by Obama, for God's sakes. They have biolabs all over the place. Our own country was planning on letting go a flu virus, experimenting with super soldiers, DNA. How many viruses do you have to have let loose on you? How many lies do you have to be told by the press, politicians? How many lies does Joe Biden have to tell you before you get sick of looking at his face? Kim Clement said it years ago, before it even happened. He says, how can a double-minded man stand before the people? When people would say, how can we have two presidents? Which I assume is when Trump comes up, he also says, how can a double-minded man stand before the people and lie? He didn't say lie, but I think that's what he meant. How can a double-minded man stand before the people? If anybody's double-minded, it's Joe Biden. He doesn't give a crap about this country. He not only doesn't give a crap about it, why don't people wake up to the fact Joe Biden has betrayed this country and he is trying to send us to the dogs. He's doing it on purpose. Why don't you get that? For God's sakes, it's so obvious. If you have any idea of what cause and effect is, look at the whole situation with a logical mind, a cause and effect. You think it's any accident that Antifa arrived on the scene just in time to rape this country? Backed by Biden and Kamala, who were bailing him out of jail, close to Hillary. Do you think it's any accident that Hillary and Obama risked their neck to try to get rid of Trump when he was president already? Why didn't they wait until 2020 instead of trying to throw him out by illegal means and taking the chance that they would be caught, which they were? Is that an accident? Is it an accident that all of a sudden, here comes Corona? They locked down all the small businesses because in communism, small businesses means middle class. Communism does not like middle class. If you look back at China, when Mao took over, what did he do? He rid China of the middle class. Why? Because communism is only works if you have a upper class and a lower class. History has told these people, we're not talking about real communism here, we're talking about using communist rhetoric to establish a totalitarian regime. This kind of a regime can't exist if there's a middle class, because the middle class is always trying to reach up and take over the upper class. They do it all the time, the bourgeoisie in Europe that threw out the kings. That's why the kings and the queens right now are just figureheads. They've learned their lesson. Now they're back. This time they're going to get rid of the middle class. And that's why Antifa, stirring things up. That's why lockdown. Lock down the small businesses, let the big business keep rolling and making the money. Small businesses are destroyed. Your middle class starts getting smaller and smaller. And then you defund the education of the kids. Why in the heck do you think you need a education if you're a little poor kid? And that's the way it's going to be for all our kids, because I'm not rich. I'm not Hillary Clinton. I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars like Nancy Pelosi. So what does that leave the kids of the people who are right now just making it ends meet, month to month, week to week? That's why we have the math and the Common Core math and the schools refusing to teach. Instead of teaching them to kids to be independent and have a chance to move up, they're teaching them propaganda so they'll be good little kids and do their little job so they will be illiterate. The ones that aren't, they'll kill if they have a chance to. That's their plan. Get rid of the Christians too. It doesn't matter about me, but those kids never have a chance to live a normal life if people like Biden are in charge, because Biden's all he plans to do is take his money and run and leave us with nothing. Thank you. Have a good day.